Hi loves, Kristen here. I am the founder of Roots of Radiance Reiki. I am also a Reiki energy healer and teacher and an empowerment coach. And today I really want to talk about techniques to help us manage our energy. So I am very attuned to energy, having worked with Reiki, which is a spiritually guided life force energy, a wise life force energy for the past 5 years. And I'll say that prior to my relationship with this energy, I didn't really understand the way in which this life force, this ki, this chi, this prana, this wind, this vital life force energy flows through all of us and flows through everything. And even though we are not maybe consciously aware of this, we haven't maybe reattuned to the flow of this energy, there is a part of our energy bodies, our bodies, that are really wise and are really attuned to this, even if we don't cognitively understand. This can be seen or felt in the way that I think many of us have had that situation where we walk into a room where two people are having an argument, and though no words are being said at the moment that we walk in, we can totally feel that tension in the room. Right? We also, I'm sure, have experiences where we walk into a space that's full of laughter and celebration, and we can just viscerally, we can feel that energy. This is part of how our energy body communicates with each other. Our energy bodies are super, super wise and deeply connected to our nervous systems. Our nervous systems help us to really regulate and to react and respond in times of need, right? There's a lot more conversation recently about our parasympathetic and our sympathetic nervous system, right? Like our sympathetic nervous system is that place of activation, that place of we're getting ready to fight, we're getting ready to flee, we're freezing, right? We are in a hyper responsive state. And then we have our parasympathetic nervous system, right? This place of peace, this place of rest, this place of digest. And in our current modern society, without meaning to, many of us stay and live in that sympathetic activated space. Our nervous systems are very communicative, right? Back in the day when we were really way more dependent on each other for survival, it benefited us for our nervous systems and our energy to communicate, right? Because if we're all in a group, we're traveling through the wilds, and I spot a, tiger, and my nervous system starts to fire off warnings, right? It benefits our entire group for everyone to pick up those subtle warnings in my nervous system, in my energy, right? Because that communicates quicker than me being like, danger, danger. And so without even meaning to, nowadays, our nervous systems are in communication with each other. And so we might walk into a space where someone is really anxious, really overwhelmed, really afraid, and through no fault of our own, our nervous system picks up on that anxiety, on that fear, on their activation, and starts to bring us into this like, oh no, danger zone, right? And so it benefits us to know tools on how to bring our bodies back into parasympathetic, how to calm our nervous systems and help that energy almost discharge and move through our bodies, right? So a great analogy that I think of is a river, right? So our bodies are primarily water. And so even though we are trained within the society to kind of like be really statue-esque, our bodies are really fluid, and there's a lot of energy flowing through it, and there's a lot of motion in our bodies. But what happens to a river when it's dammed, right, is that flow stops. The water becomes really stagnant, and stagnant water is often really like mucky and kind of gross. And so when we prevent a flow, it can cause kind of buildup that then needs to be discharged and cleared. So I want to use our breath, first of all, to anchor into managing or just moving our energy. Now, I want to name that in our current society, it is even more important that we're tuning into our breath, right? Many of us have been holding our breath, quite literally. Many of us have been wearing masks when we're out and about, which can really limit the freedom of our breath and also cause our nervous systems to start to be really, really activated. So I want to introduce a breath type. This is definitely something we should use when we're in a space where we feel comfortable breathing. And also we can learn ways to do breath work with mask on. But right now I want to do one for when you're in a space where you feel really comfortable taking some really deep breaths, okay? So we're gonna maybe get a little wiggles out, get really present in where we are. And let's place hands on our belly, right? We can either place hands on our side ribs here. We can place hands on our belly. And we're just gonna breathe. We're gonna feel the breath enter our body, breathing out through our mouths, feeling the breath leave our body. Really let yourself exhale for a long time. We're gonna do some counts here. So we're gonna breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in again, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Let that breath out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In again, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths here without the counting. That's sometimes called square breathing. Notice how you feel. Notice if you feel different than when you began. We're gonna do another version of that breath. This one, we're breathing in for 4, and then we're gonna hold for 4, and then let that breath out. Something I find really interesting about any of these ones where we exhale for longer than we inhale is the noticing of how much breath we hold in our body, how much breath is trapped in our body and not being let out. When we do these really long exhales and really give ourselves permission to empty of that stagnant, stale air that's been just chilling with us, it creates more spaciousness. Sometimes our bodies, when we breathe like this, respond by yawning, which might mean we're tired, but often just means that our body is enjoying the extra amount of oxygen that we have started inviting into our body and really wanting more through that yawn. I know myself as well. I sometimes will tear up and I'll have like tears fall down my face. That to me also just feels like a stirring of energy and then just a little bit of a release. So really just be gentle with yourself as you sink into these breath work. And I'll include a worksheet that you can kind of use to reflect on some of these activities as well. Because that integration piece, after doing whether it's breath work or any of these energy management techniques, the integration piece where we really look at how did we feel when we began, how did we feel while we were doing this, and how did we feel after, those are going to be really important as we like build evidence for how these activities support us and really work, right? And again, not activities work the same way for all people. So I'm gonna add some water. All right, let's go ahead and get into our bodies again. We're gonna do this square breathing, and this time we're gonna do a breath hold. And we're gonna just notice how we feel, without too much judgment. So we'll go ahead and breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in, 3, 4. Holding, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe normally for a moment and just tune in to how your body is feeling now compared to when you began. You can also reflect on how it felt to just do the regular in and out breath compared to when we were holding our breath momentarily. Making note of any shifts that have occurred, no matter how small. This space of integration, this space of reflection, this space of noticing is so important as we start to do this sort of energy management. Energy moves and communicates in ways that are really subtle. And it's really easy for our minds and our intellect to write off, undermine, or diminish the tiny but potent and powerful shifts that occur in our bodies when we do this sort of breath work. Even if it's just a few deep breaths, even if it's just a moment of breathing and connecting with our breath, there's enormous benefits that come from this. And again, this can be done anytime, anywhere. This counting can be really soothing for our minds when we're feeling really activated. It can bring us into a rhythm that can just really help us slow down a little bit and become present again with ourselves and in this present moment. I don't think it can be said enough times that our power really resides in this present moment and in our present moment awareness and in becoming present, especially when we're talking about energy management. Our energy is very responsive to our thoughts and to our feelings. And our minds are very good at time traveling to the future, worrying about this and worrying about that, and also time traveling and dwelling in the past, worrying about what could have been or should have been. And our energy responds to that. And so when we're talking about accessing peace, accessing grounding, accessing certainty, a lot of that energy lives in the current present moment. And it can be really hard to access that when we're constantly traveling. So breath, that square breathing, that kind of rhythmic counting of a breath can be a really powerful way to bring us back into this moment, move our energy. So much energy gets moved when we breathe. So that's one activity that we can use to help manage our energy and get grounded in the present moment. Another one that I want to introduce is a gentle tapping or a gentle rubbing. So we'll start up near our collarbone area, and we'll just kind of like gently kind of like tap our upper chest area. You can use all of your fingers as I'm doing. You can use 1 or 2 fingers. You can also notice how it feels to tap with different fingers. I know my pinky is particularly weak and feels kind of silly, and yet also feels really nourishing. So we're just going to spend a little time here rubbing and tapping on that area underneath our collarbones, in our upper chest, really following our intuition here. And just noticing. Some areas might feel really tender. Maybe we want to spend a little extra time with those spaces. When I tap on this kind of middle area, I can feel the vibration in my bones radiating out. If you wish, we can move a little bit lower down to our sternum, which is that place that kind of dimples in the middle of our chest, gently tapping there. Or you can stay up towards your upper chest. We're going to breathe deeply while we're doing this. And if it feels good, you can close your eyes. letting your senses kind of tune into the sensation of the tapping and of the rubbing. You can bring the taps up a little higher. Tap on that area behind your ears, near your jaw if you wish. Really follow your intuition here. Tapping is a really powerful way to awaken energy in our physical body and stimulate the movement of energy through our physical body. It's also a really powerful way to get grounded back in the now moment because we tend to focus on that sensation, and it helps our mind to focus a little bit more on our bodies and on the feeling than on the thoughts. So maybe if you haven't, bring some of that tapping to your shoulders and neck. I know personally I tend to hold a lot of tension there. Being really gentle with yourself. We don't need to hit ourselves really hard. We can kind of focus on the outward pull if that feels good, kind of encouraging energy to kind of flow out as opposed to really like hitting ourselves really hard. We can let this be gentle and loving. Give yourself a few more moments of this. Letting yourself like rub on your neck if that feels good. If you want to bring the tapping up into your face, you can do that as well. Tapping all around your jaw. Tapping on your upper cheekbones, all around your eyes and in your temple. Maybe tapping up near your hairline, down towards your ears. As someone who wears glasses, I love to rub that area where my glasses sit, right on my ear area. If the tapping's feeling like too much, you can just move into some gentle rubbing. So a reason that a lot of us will like rub our face when we're feeling, just intuitively, when we're feeling tired, when we're feeling stressed. That's part of our intuition, our wisdom. It helps to bring energy flow, blood flow up into our faces. It can really be re-energizing if we're feeling really tired, especially nowadays where we spend so much time staring at really bright lights. I know for me, my eyes can get really fatigued. So just even stimulating and rubbing around that area of my eyes can be really nourishing. So give yourself a few more moments here, intuitively rubbing or tapping on your face, your upper chest, or your shoulders. And then as you feel complete, come into stillness for a moment. Just become aware of the sensations in your body. I'm feeling a lot of tingling and warmth in my face and in my neck. Feeling a little extra tension in my neck. I'm going to rub on that a little bit. Give yourself a moment here to drop into a journal. If you use a journal, or use the worksheet that is provided, and just reflect. How did it feel for you to do this tapping, this gentle rubbing? How do you feel now compared to when you began? What do you notice? Again, the invitation here is not to be judgmental of what is coming up, but is to just reattune. Just be curious and observe. Sometimes when I do these activities, I'll become aware of more tension in my body, tension that existed, but now my awareness is present with it, and so it feels more tight than when I began. It's completely normal. When we land, we become aware of things that maybe we were avoiding before. And I was reminded by a friend today that when we're feeling tension, tightness or pain in our body, there's always an invitation to just get curious and ask the pain, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to tell me? What do I need to know here? Mm. Mm. So again, we're talking about managing our energy. So much of energy management has to do with how we are able to move through difficult experiences, move through unexpected, uncertain kind of situations. And so many of these practices are going to develop and strengthen over time, right? Like any practice, the first times that we do it, it feels way different than after we've been working with a practice for like years and years and years. So if this is your first time doing really conscious breath work, or your first time doing some kind of self-soothing through tapping or rubbing, just know that this is your first time, and that's super exciting. That's something to be really celebrated. And now, if it's something that felt nourishing for you, you can continue to work with it and see how it feels and how it develops for you. Every time that we tune into these practices, they're going to feel different because we are different, right? Sometimes when I do the like rubbing on my chest, it feels really nourishing. Actually, almost always it feels nourishing, but sometimes I feel really tight and really tender, and so I have to be a lot more gentle with myself. And so this is also an invitation to really just tune back into our own bodies, the wisdom that lives there, and really let ourselves be flexible and fluid, right? There isn't one right way to do this work. We are constantly evolving, constantly changing. So we did some breath work, we did a little rubbing and tapping, and I want to invite in just a kind of like calling our energy back in activity. So go ahead and get comfortable again. We're going to bring one hand to our heart space. We can place it on our heart if that feels right. I'm just going to place my hand kind of here. I'm going to use my other hand, and we're going to breathe in, bring our arm all the way up, and then I'm going to breathe out and bring my arm down. The visual of this is really like calling our energy back. Calling our energy back to our center, calling our energy back to our roots, calling our energy back, while also moving out energy that is not ours or does not serve us. So we're going to spend some time with this one side, and then we'll swap and do it on the other side. So again, get out some wiggles if you want, get comfortable. You can let your eyes close if that feels right to kind of bring the awareness inward. One hand near our heart space, other hand down. Rest it at our side, and we're going to breathe in, pull that arm up over our head. Breathe out, bring that arm down. Again, breathe in, arm goes all the way up. Breathing out, bring that arm down the middle line. Breathing in again, arm is up. And breathing out, bring that arm down. Continue this rhythm, breathing in and out. In and out. One more time, in and out. Actually, let's do a few more. We're going to just call that energy back to ourselves. Out. Again, circle that arm up and around. One more on this side. Ooh, beautiful. Just reflect a moment. Notice how we feel after that side. Very consciously aware of a slight difference between my two sides right now. All right, we'll do it on the other side as well. Keeping that opposite hand either on our heart or in front of our heart space. Then we're going to bring that other arm. Breathing in, bring that arm up. Breathing out, bring that arm down. Again, breathing in, arm comes up. Breathing out, arm comes down. Again, breathing in, pulling that energy back. Pulling that energy down. Breathing in and out. In and out. Let's do 3 more times. Breathing in, bringing that arm up and out. Bring that arm down the middle line. Again here. And out. And again. Of course, continue either or any of these practices for as long as it feels good for you. When you feel complete, bring both hands into your heart center and just notice how you're feeling. Feel free to drop into your journal. Just notice anything that might have changed for you before we began that activity till now. Again, this reflection space is so integral to really integrating the benefit of these practices. As I said before, our intellect, our mental bodies will find a lot of reasons to kind of downplay the potency of such simple practices. And yet, when we do them and we feel monumental shifts, we are creating evidence that these practices, while simple, are exceptionally profound. And it can also make it easier for us to access these practices. Because I don't think I'm alone in how easy it is to forget to do these things, right? How easy it is to forget our breath work when we most need it, how easy it is to forget grounding when we most need it. And so the more that we do these and really create evidence for how they work and really start choosing them, right? I know for years I chose coping mechanisms that were not the healthiest, and they became so habitual that I didn't even think about them before choosing them. And the hope and the goal would be that we start to choose these sort of embodiment practices, these somatic practices, this breath work, this embodiment, that those become kind of like natural things that we reach for when we start to feel really overwhelmed. Because I want to say that we live in a world that can be very overwhelming, overstimulating, can cause a lot of activation, fear, anxiety, especially with the way that information is shared nowadays and the stories that the news chooses to share. It can be exceptionally overwhelming. And having these sort of practices to help ourselves self-soothe and come back into a peaceful place, or at least an embodied present place, can make a really big difference when we're feeling overwhelmed. Because I want to say again that oftentimes, at least for me, my overwhelm happens when I'm not actually fully present in this moment. I feel overwhelmed because I am going through the litany of things that I need to take care of. I'm going through a list of things that are happening tomorrow or the day after or months from now. And while it is exceptionally important at times that we are having that kind of planning, if we are constantly living in that place, it can also be really disempowering. And so we have the capacity to do all of the things that we want to do. And oftentimes that capacity is built through our ability to manage our energy and stay present with ourselves and in this moment. Because when we are able to access that present moment awareness, we are able to make decisions from a much more aligned place rather than just kind of reacting really quickly. So I want to just do one final kind of closing breath work here. This is a practice that I use quite frequently when I start to feel overwhelmed. So again, it can be done anywhere, anytime. So again, let's get a little wiggles out, get present. Let your eyes close if that feels comfortable. And we're going to drop our energy down to where our body is meeting the floor or the chair that we're sitting in. So maybe our energy and awareness drops to our feet. Maybe it drops to our rear or our thighs or our legs. We're just going to breathe there for a minute as we become aware of the sensation of being held. Being held by the ground, being held by a chair. Just tuning in, feeling that feeling of being held. And then as we feel ready, I invite you to breathe in and imagine that nourishing energy is moving up through the bottoms of your feet or the base of your spine, being pulled up from the earth through that nurturing, holding energy, being pulled up, 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 all the way into our root space, all the way up our middle line towards our heart, all the way up, 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 up towards the top of our head, pulling that energy all the way to the top of our head, breathing out and just feel it, imagine it washing over you. Again, super tuned in to where we're being held by the chair or by the earth or by the ground. Breathing in, pulling in nourishing life force energy in our imaginal realm, our energetic realm, pulling it up, 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 up as we breathe in, all the way up, breathing out, feeling it wash over us. We'll do this again, breathing in, pulling energy up from the ground, breathing out, feeling it wash over us. Another breath here, pulling that energy up from the ground, feeling it wash over us. We'll breathe in again, pulling that energy all the way up, 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 and feeling it wash over us. Do a couple of breath cycles here in your own time. Breathing in, feeling energy moving up, up, up through the base of your spine, all the way up. Breathing out, feeling it wash over you. Wonderful. As you feel complete with that, take a moment to just notice, how did that feel for you? Has there been any shifting? What was that like? I know that for me, sometimes allowing the breath to move up like that can really help me to just reorient. In a world where I'm used to kind of thinking of my breath moving in through my mouth and down, switching up that flow can help to switch up a lot of things for me. It can also really help me to feel more grounded and connected with the earth. And from that place, I often just feel more supported and less out here on my own, if that makes sense. So again, we did a couple different activities here. We did a square breathing where we counted our breath. We did some gentle, intuitive rubbing and tapping on our physical bodies. And we did an energy gathering activity with just a little bit of subtle movement with our arms. And we did a visualizing breath. All of these activities can be accessed at any time, at anywhere. There's no supplies needed. We have what we need within us. And I invite you to really play with these, integrate them, call on them, utilize them when you're starting to feel really overwhelmed, when you're starting to feel really hopeless or full of grief, when you're starting to feel tired, drained. These activities are here for you. Your breath is here for you. And when we start to get present with ourselves and with our energy, we can really reclaim a lot of our own personal power, because I really believe that we are all magnificent, creative, and powerful beings who have what we need, have the capacity to really change this world for the better. And as we begin to tune into our own energy and really learn tools to manage our energy, that can radiate out from us, and we can begin to start having the really difficult conversations with each other, and or taking care of business that needs to be taken care of, even though it's really, really hard. Because when we manage our energy, we really give ourselves the capacity to do what needs to be done, do what feels right for us, to do what we came here to do, whatever that dharmic soul purpose is, right? We take back our power in many ways when we begin to move and manage our own energy. And it can be as simple as doing a couple of deep breaths or tapping gently on our body or just reconnecting with our felt sensation of being held, being supported. Again, my name is Kristen. I'm the founder of Roots of Radiance Reiki, and I really teach folks how to reclaim empowerment through the soma and through embodiment activities. I also help folks to reattune to the energy that flows through our bodies, all around us, through this world, through Reiki training and energy management classes and coaching. So if you feel interested in learning more about this, please feel free to reach out to me. Roots of Radiance Reiki. You can find me on Instagram, message me there, or I'll include my email as well. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day and that these activities are nourishing. I've included a worksheet that you can use to just really reflect on how these activities are landing in your body and how they are working for you. All right. See you next time. Bye.